Can we go into that for one more second? How did just explain how that happened?
So I was on the swim team, and people be like, "Look at that guy's pear-shaped pot stills." Welcome once again to Chill Filtered, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to, but you probably should, and you probably are, and that's why we gosh darn like you. This episode, we're full of guest episodes lately, so we are very excited for this episode because not only are we drinking a classy scotch, we're having a classy guy named Connor Gilbert from Who Gives a Dram, and we'll hop him on in a second. And he's also a part of Bourbon with Friends.
Yeah.
Did I get that right, Connor? I hope I got that right. Okay.
Yeah.
Whew. I was like, did I just screw it up? But anyway, before we go into talking to Connor, before we go into anything else, let's talk about a way you can support us. Patreon.com/chillfiltered. We are going to be drinking this month Elijah Craig Barrel Proof with our Patreon supporters. And that is, I believe, the B522 release. No, I think it's the B5 or B121 or 22. I don't remember. But we're going to do it. It's going to be awesome. And those who are Patreon subscribers will already have a sample via courier. So that's the way you can support us. And let's hop Connor on. Let's start talking. Connor, welcome.
What's up? Hey, everybody listening. I just signed up for the Chill Filtered Patreon. So if you're not signing up,
we're so grateful.
What the hell are you doing? Come on, get with it.
I thought you looked more good looking.
Every moment since that point,
is even more good looking.
You know what's funny? So this is fact. This actually just happened. I subscribed to your Patreon, and my arms grew 2 inches bigger.
Yeah.
That's not like I measured it really quick while I was off air.
Bicep or length?
By both.
Nice.
I was gonna say girth, but I don't know if that applies to an arm or not.
It can apply.
Girth applies to everything.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they say. Yeah. You know what they say. Your net girth is your net worth. So.
Okay.
So wait. So I'm really excited for you, Connor, because you are one of the three now, and you were at one point one of the two and one of the three Bourbon with Friends podcast. So tell me about that and rep it.
Yeah, well, the last time we had you on, you were pretty much just starting your Who Gives a Dram.
Mm-hmm.
When did you and I do the podcast?
Was it when I was out for baby?
You were out?
I think so.
So it would have been last summer.
That was about June of 2021.
No. Okay, so June 2021. So
it was hot. It was hot because we drank Rebel Yell. Remember, Rob?
And you did. You
nice.
did.
Because it was really hot. We're like, this would be a nice summer whiskey. I'm pretty sure we said something around there. But I do Bourbon with Friends. So I got, Bourbon with Friends is my main thing. That's essentially like a part-time job, me and Paul.
Wow.
And now we have a third brand new co-host, Shanda.
Yeah.
And we kind of take that very seriously. And it's been great. A lot of fun experiences. I'm actually flying. I have a flight to Kentucky tomorrow.
Nice.
Because we have a few tastings we're doing, private tastings, some podcasts, some tours and stuff.
Legit.
So
nice.
I'll be on a plane tomorrow. And then Who Gives a Dram still going strong, just doing my thing over there. Kind of just talking more about movies, MMA, whiskey, kind of
it's
kind
of
I like to talk about.
It's kind of like our shooting the breeze kind of stuff we do over here.
Yeah,
it's just
but you drink whiskey with it. Yeah.
I'll try to semi-professionally review a whiskey while shooting the breeze the entire episode. So
no, I will say it is impressive because you do that one on your own and you fill time.
Yeah.
We do. We do this together. And you know how it is. It's so much easier to just get in the conversation and blow. You can blow through an hour and a half like that when you got somebody else, but you had 30-minute episodes, 45-minute episodes by yourself, which is impressive.
It is impressive.
Thank you. You're a gentleman and a scholar. I appreciate that. If I have pre-written stuff down, I can take up space by myself. I love to listen to myself talk. But if I'm literally just shooting the breeze and I'm just talking, I don't have any plan. 30 minutes comes by and I'm like, I've talked about everything that I can think of right now. So it can be difficult, but at the same time it can be liberating, where it's like you can, if you're going through some stuff, you can just get it all out.
Get it out.
When,
no one can tell you no.
When Robby started and when I started the podcast, sometimes we would write down things just in case there was a lull, because we'd be like, crap, I don't know what to say. Like if there is, but being a conversational podcast, it is, we don't even think of anything before we start anymore, except for like the notes and the stuff. But
you write down the notes, you write down, like I know you do the whiskey history and everything, and that's something you have to do beforehand. But I think that that's what we do with Bourbon with Friends. That's what I've always done with Who Gives a Dram. It's like, how is it going to be in real life conversation? Yeah. Like no one's going to sit down and say, "Ooh, this smells like warm baked bread on a fall summer or a fall evening, and I'm getting hints of pomegranate and rich mahogany." Like no one says that around a campfire, or like around when you're just hanging out. So like the flowy conversation, which is what I love about you guys. I've been listening to you guys since I started my podcast. So I try to listen to every episode I can, but that's what makes good podcast great. I think it's just conversation and being able to kind of roll with the punches, per se.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm with you. And being real too. I think that's one of the things I've always loved about your at least Who Gives a Dram. And not the Bourbon with Friends. I just haven't listened to much.
I'll be honest. I haven't listened. I catch your snippets that you post. Like, you're good at that. You're okay. Connor is a young man in an old man's game, and Connor's got this online energy where he's able to like actually post fun stuff. Unlike us, where it's like maybe we post twice a week,
once a week,
like,
maybe.
Yeah.
Well, you guys you're different. You guys got kids.
Yeah.
You guys have, like I'm a single dude. I live by myself. I'm like, I don't have to get anyone's permission to hop on a plane and fly to Kentucky tomorrow. Like I just do it. And
I don't get permission either. If I wanted to, I'd do it myself.
Do whatever I want, man.
Don't put me in a box.
Hey, man.
That's not
true. Don't hold me down.
So do you know, can you say rather where you're going tomorrow, distillery wise?
Oh yeah. So tomorrow, or not tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm gonna land in Lexington at about 10 p.m.
I gotcha.
So me and Paul will just hang out and drink whiskey and smoke a cigar at his place. But Saturday we had a bourbon ball in April.
Oh yeah,
we raised $30,000 for Folds of Honor.
Dang, that's amazing.
That's really
So it was
for what charity was that?
Folds of Honor. Which is a veteran-based charity that supports the families of fallen soldiers.
Love it.
And Paul and I are very passionate about, supporting our troops and doing everything we can there. So we raised $30K that night, and we had a silent auction. Lots of cool things went. A lot of different items. One of the items was a private tasting with a brand called WM Tar or RD1 Spirits, who has been on Bourbon with Friends. Their main spokesperson is the Kentucky football coach. I think Coach Stoops is his name. I'm not a Kentucky guy, so I don't know.
Yeah,
but
they got a basketball team, but I don't know.
They do basketball, but apparently people in Kentucky love Kentucky football. Is what I learned. But
well, so you know what? But that's not what John Hughes said on the show
last episode. John
two episodes.
I actually
people hate football.
Yeah, I remember actually. That's funny. I remember John saying that, and I remember where I was on my walk when I was
You're like
walking.
Bull crap.
I'm not from Kentucky, but whenever I'm down there, it's all Kentucky football. So maybe it's just me as an outsider.
It's where it's probably locale too. Like if you're near the university.
Very true.
Sure.
Yeah,
well, but it's like SEC too. Like
yeah,
so big deal.
And you're not going to hear about Murray State from where John's from in terms of football.
No, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, listen, I got UConn up here, which I mean we suck. But anyways, we had somebody bid. Actually, I think they bet $1,100 on this private tasting and then a podcast with us.
Oh, that's great.
That all went to charity, but I'm flying in for that, and then we're doing a private tour tasting and podcast with James Pepper.
Nice.
And then Sunday we're doing the whole kit and caboodle with Castle and Key.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
That'll be fun. I hear the Castle and Key place is amazing. That's the old Taylor distillery, right?
Old Taylor. Yeah, it's beautiful, dude. It's
That's
the
so
first
cool.
distillery. We went to Buffalo Trace the first time I went to Kentucky earlier in the year. But then we went to Castle and Key, and I tell you what, man, it is beautiful.
That's what I hear.
In like an old way. You know how like
a castle way. Yeah.
Like true. Well, you know how like you wouldn't think an old person's hot, you know? It's like they're cute, they're old. I actually do think Rob's hot, and but like you think they're cute and they're in their own ways. That's kind of how this there's nothing fancy about it. It's just kind of like royal and quaint.
Royal.
That's cool.
Like a royal castle.
I love it. Yeah. I still got to go there. And we actually have a few Castle and Key samples that we got to drink via Ben Klepzig. So I'm excited to do those. Some Restoration Ryes.
You haven't done any Castle and Key products, have you, yet?
Not yet, but we have one lined up. Yeah.
Sick. Yeah, batch 2, the bourbon, batch 2.
Okay, we have Ryes.
It's great. Yeah, Restoration Rye. I've never had it, but
yeah,
I'll listen to you guys do. I'll probably have some on Sunday, but
yeah, no, that'd be killer. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
So real quick, how did you go from Who Gives a Dram?
Yeah,
to Bourbon with Friends? Because Bourbon with Friends was it is large.
It was rolling,
larger,
yeah,
it's a big deal, and it's very relative prior to you getting to it. How'd you make that jump?
So essentially what happened was I've known Paul since really I started. We always kind of kept in contact, not much, but we kept in contact, and he would always reach out to me and I'd reach out to him, and all that stuff. But there was some changes in 2 of the 3 guys that started the pod. Paul does a very good job at networking and planning and large picture stuff.
Yeah.
So
not us.
I'm not really that way either. I kind of like to take it day by day, but I'm getting better at it because I have to. But they left. They left the pod, and Paul was left by himself. And he just kind of called me up one day, and he's like, "Hey, I need a guest host for a pod. Do you want to jump on?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. I'm at dinner right now, but give me like an hour, and I'll hop on." And it went great. And then we talked within the next day or 2. And he's like, "Hey, listen, I think, I want to have you come on and kind of take ownership of the podcast with me."
Nice.
So I thought about it, and I was like, because I'm very passionate about Who Gives a Dram. It's kind of like how I'm sure how you guys feel about Chill Filtered. It's like just my baby, and I love it. And I was like, you know what? This is it is a next step, and it's a logical next step. So I went, I dove right into Bourbon with Friends in November. Since then, we are consistently top 5 whiskey podcasts in the country.
Nice. That's awesome.
Consistently top 5 worldwide. We've gotten since then probably 5,000 or 6,000 IG followers. We've gotten several big guests. We're having next Monday we're gonna have Bruce Buffer on the show.
Nice.
The end of the month we're gonna have John Rich from Big and Rich on the show.
Nice.
Terry Bradshaw is gonna come back on the show in September.
Wait, so Bruce Buffer?
Brother. Oh, you mean like it's time. I thought you knew it. Sorry.
It's no.
He should have.
Bruce Buffer's the UFC guy. You're thinking of his brother. Let's get ready to rumble.
I'm thinking Let's Get Ready to Rumble, and I saw. Okay, so Bruce Buffer is
the UFC commentator. Yeah.
I have not watched UFC since I had my daughter.
But WWE, on the other hand,
10 years. No, man. I don't know, man. I just don't got time for it.
I could just see you as a WWE guy.
I was always WCW. I was WCW. And every once in a while,
really shows your age.
It does.
I'm an NWA kind of guy because Billy Corgan owns it, but I really don't watch anything.
AEW though. If I did watch wrestling now, it would be the AEW. So, but I don't. I'm not. I would like to have time to really be back into watching the UFC.
Side note, my wife taught me everything WWE that I know, and that shows who my wife is. And she's like, okay, So Rey Mysterio did what was the move he did? Like the 519 or something like that?
You're close. The 619.
619. And he's like, he'd like turn his body sideways and go through the whatever. Like, and then she'd teach me the Triple H, like the suck it move. And
which is funny to me because she's like the quietest.
Oh yeah, straight up,
like low key personality.
She'll like sneak it on you. She'll be like, whoosh.
RKO. She'll give you an RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, but she didn't really watch it too much. But her brother watched it all the time, and so she would like pick it all up, and she'd be like, "Yes, that's Triple H." And what's the other guy that works with Triple H a lot?
It was Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels, yeah, and stuff
the
like
Heartbreak Kid. The second best sporting event I've ever been to was WrestleMania in 2019.
Oh, it's so good, and then recent too.
Yeah, that was at MetLife in New York, and drove there. And dude, Triple H versus Batista. John Cena came back as, I don't know if you remember John Cena as the Doctor of Thugonomics.
Oh, that's
Before
so
he was
good.
You Can't See Me. He was Thug Life. This is Basic Thugonomics.
That's so good.
Lots of Hulk Hogan, Brock Lesnar, all the.
That's awesome.
I was drunk an hour and a half before the show started.
Do you remember any of the show, or just knew that you were there?
I remember kind of. I remember we left before the main event to beat the traffic.
Oh, that's too bad.
That was the year Ronda Rousey main event, and we were kind of like all looked at each other. We were tired. We were like, "Do you really want to stay?" We're all just like, "Nah."
No, that's great though.
So yeah, you're an East Coast guy. Like East Coast to me is a mystery, but like everything's so dense there that like there's all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, you can go from Connecticut to New York easy.
I had to drive 400 miles to see a band I liked this week.
Yeah, like it's like 5 hours. Yeah.
Like
what band was it?
The National. Went and saw the National. You ever listen?
No, I don't think so.
It's probably more for old people, but I will tell you, if you listen,
are they on TikTok?
I doubt it.
Not. The dude's got gray hair.
I will say this. So, like, do yourself a favor, Connor. Look up the National.
Yeah,
and it's a like introspective kind of music, but it's like every song sounds like it's you're in a soundtrack to a movie. So,
and
I love
one of the interesting things. It's in a genre that's probably defined by a general alternative scene, but it's in a subgenre that's basically like weird voiced singers, and I'd put a few other
a little bit like
he's low.
That was the thing. It turned me off at
monotone.
first, and then I started listening. Like the band is so like musically they're great. Aaron Dessner, he produced the latest. He produced the latest Taylor Swift album. So
yeah,
you're definitely a baritone when you sing, Robbie, aren't you?
I'm much more yes. Yep.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, but I'm not allowed to sing very often. No one really
not
lets
since
me.
the
incident.
So
now, real quick, Connor, you're going to go on some distillery. What?
Distillery
starts with a T.
Truffle cake? I don't know.
Tours.
Wait, say it like you would.
Tours.
I knew it. He said it right. He said it the right way.
No, that's
Robbie's always like tour.
Yeah, Robbie also, whenever someone asks Robbie a question, he probably goes, "What?"
Why do you ask? Oh man, so look at time wise, like this is fun.
Yeah,
but I think it's about time to take a walk.
Let's go take a walk.
I gotta stretch my little old legs, you guys. Let's do this.
Well, your legs are longer now.
If you only got 2 inches more on your legs.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
All right. We'll send it to break. We'll be right back. And we're back from break. Nice walks. Connor realized he walked further this time because his legs are at least 2 inches longer.
And
because he's a
Patreon. I didn't know you guys held hands when you walked. I was very happy about that.
No one's supposed to know that.
It helps when you're it's time to warm your whiskey glass. You 98 degrees plus 98 degrees is what, Cole?
196 degrees.
Look at this man with the math.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I got the math, man.
So real quick, Connor, how tall are you?
6'7".
I knew it.
Goodness.
But now
I make a joke. So I'm like 5'9", but if you round up, it's basically 5'10", and then if you're 5'10", you're 6 foot. So I'm 6 foot.
Straight up.
There you go. Okay.
That's what I say when I want to go to bed. Is like, oh my goodness, it's like midnight, and Heather's like, it's like 8:30, and I'm like, yeah, but 8:30 rounds to 9 rounds to 10, and 10 might as well just go up to 12. So
yeah, it's very, very valid. I don't see anything wrong with that math.
Nothing wrong.
You don't apply that kind of math to your actuarial job, do you?
Sometimes.
Oh, okay.
But I get away with it. Quick shout out to Sean Ciaro for couriering Robby and myself the Lagavulin 16, which I don't think we've mentioned what we're drinking today, except for they were drinking a classy scotch. Thank you, Connor, for showing.
And yet again, our guest host is the only one with the bottle.
Yeah, exactly. So it goes without saying that Sean is a true baller. So let's talk about what we're drinking today. Lagavulin 16. This is actually our first Lagavulin product on the podcast. It's definitely not our first Islay Scotch. We've had plenty of them. So let's just talk about some of the basic history of the Lagavulin distillery. So it was started in 1816, at least the distillery on the property that has stood till this day, 1816. It was actually built 2 distilleries at first. And I'll explain what happened there in a moment. But there was one guy, one was started by a guy named John Johnston. That's like Cole Colston.
Connerston. Or Rob Robson.
I like that. Rob Robston.
Robson sounds like a name you may not hear very often, but totally fake, but totally real.
I could believe it though. And then the other guy was Archibald Campbell Brooks.
The exact opposite name of the other guy.
Yeah,
like 2 polars.
They're like, yo, my name is John Johnston, and he's like, my name is Archibald Campbell Brooks. And one of them became the Lagavulin distillery. And it basically absorbed the other one over time. And when it was named Lagavulin, after a little bit, it was anglicized, basically made English from the Gaelic or Scottish Gaelic term Lagavulin. And I probably pronounced that wrong. But it represents the term for hollow of the mill. And I don't know what that means, but it sounds deep.
Sounds like something from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out of the hollow of the mill.
You shall not hollow of the mill. So there were apparently a lot of distilleries that had used that site, though, prior to 1816, but they were all illegally operating and eventually were shut down. Lagavulin these days is known to differ from other Islay distilleries because it uses a slow distillation speed. So they, lower the heat a little bit and just take it slow. And they use pear-shaped pot stills. Hey, that was the name of my butt in high school.
Wait. Can we go into that for one more second? Just explain how that happened.
So I was on the swim team and people would be like, look at that guy's pear-shaped pot stills.
Oh, so okay. I thought you were talking about you're talking about the cheeks, not the...
Yeah.
Okay,
each cheek was a pear-shaped pot still.
So, definition of a hollow mill: it's a milling cutter with 3 or more cutting edges enclosing and revolving around a cylindrical workpiece.
Oh, I love it.
So it's just part of the mill.
Okay, cool.
Or type of mill, I guess.
I bet they had a lot of mill things back in the day.
That's the first time I've ever contributed anything intellectual.
I think it is.
Cole was just about to go, all right, cool. And then continue reading.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly.
Hold
right, shut up.
So here's a picture of one, which just looks like.
That's like a mill for drilling, though. That's like a.
Yeah.
They didn't have those back in Islay in the 1800s.
But if you look at this one, it also looks more like a burr grinder.
I thought they were talking about like a water mill, like a windmill, but for water.
Well, I'm sure. What is it powered by, Cole?
Water.
Okay, so but that last one looks like
a
burr grinder that you're going to grind your coffee with. So that was like a burr kind of a grinder hollow mill for Lagavulin.
What are we talking about right now?
So anyway, Robby, So remember how the shape of the still can affect the final product. Do you remember Glen Grant? What made Glen Grant special? Either of you?
It was an apricot shaped still.
No,
it was that was the scotch they drank in The Gentleman. That's what made it special.
Wait, was it? No.
Oh no, I'm thinking of no, it's not. Sorry, forget I said that.
Was that
yeah, it was.
I don't even know.
Shoot, I'll figure it
out.
The
Gentleman? Yeah, look it up. So Glen Grant was known for their extra tall stills, which basically brought in more clean alcohol and less like general water and barley water. Fermented barley water.
Glen Farkless.
Oh yeah, totally.
Just a casual like $1,500 bottle.
So what they should have drank is Glengoyne.
Glengoyne.
That in a while.
We have it.
So anyway, yep. So what they in this case, the slow distillation and pear-shaped pot stills, I expect that they would bring more density to the scotch because Glen Grant was known for their crisp, clean, really refreshing scotch. So I assume this has a little bit different of a crispness to it, if that at all. The distillery lies on the Lagavulin Bay, which is basically part of the south. It's basically the south part of the main part of the Isle of Islay. The town it's in, Lagavulin, which bears, of course, the same name as the distillery, is bordered by Laphroaig on the west and Ardbeg on the east. So it's definitely right between some big names in the Islay world. I saw a short little detail that talked about some point in the 1800s, a few legal battles came about with Lagavulin and Laphroaig. It looked like Lagavulin was basically trying to replicate everything that Laphroaig was doing so that they can just get a better product. Because I think Laphroaig had been around and was doing better at the time, been around longer and was doing better. But even when they did, they found that the water used was different, noticeably different. And the peat used on site was also very different because they basically weren't able to replicate the whiskey because it was just different. Even though it was the same island, almost same everything, the peat was different and the water was different enough to make a different whiskey product, which I find really interesting. And it shows how even bordering towns have different water and peat that they couldn't produce identical whiskey. Even with an effort to really try to do so, they weren't able to. So we should start an Islay distillery, all three of us, and make it our own on some other part of the island, and just use all their peat and make some goodies. So,
well, yeah, I can get the zoning permits because your boy will be at Lagavulin.
Oh, that's October. Right. I forgot. Yeah, that was their post recently. So you'd be at Lagavulin. Where else? Are you going to Ardbeg?
Ardbeg, Laphroaig, Bunnahabhain. We're going to like jealous. 10 places. Yeah,
I love it.
It's fan of a week.
Going to Colila?
Yes, I believe we are.
Yeah, all the goodies.
Yeah.
So
what's the one? Port Ellen? You going to Port Ellen?
I don't think we're going to Port Ellen.
That's like the lesser known one in Ireland. Yeah.
So great though.
You know who's going to be in the UK here in 2 weeks? Your Nebraska Cornhuskers people. They're playing
really.
Northwestern. Yeah, on the
you should go with them.
I tried to talk my wife into it. I'm like that. Like she's like, we're not going to go to Ireland just to watch a football game. I'm like, well,
wait, Ireland or Scotland?
It's in Ireland.
Oh, okay.
But that's the
pretty
UK.
Fun though. If I were a college football player,
if you were sportsy.
If I was sportsy, like I am.
Yeah.
So these days, Lagavulin is owned by Diageo. Which, Diageo is a big conglomerate behind brands like Bullet, George Dickel, Johnny Walker, Talisker, Glenkinchie, among others. And they don't just offer an 8-year and 16-year, which those are the ones you'll see on the shelf the most. They make a cask strength 12-year. Yep. They make a distiller's edition, a 21-year, a 25-year, 30-year, 37-year, and the Nick Offerman editions, which are 11 years old. The cool thing, I've had the 8-year and the 16-year and the distiller's edition, but I haven't had anything else. And it's been a long time since I had the 16-year. So I'm willing to give this another shot. But from my recollection, I didn't like Lagavulin as much as I liked Ardbeg, but it's been a long time, so I'm willing to give it a fresh shot. So anyway, what we're drinking today?
I don't know if I've ever had Lagavulin.
Oh, cool!
You are in for a treat.
I'm very excited. I'm wishing Cole, like, this is the part of the show where Cole has been going through history, and I'm like, I don't want to grab another whiskey to drink, but I'm ready to drink whiskey. And
it'll clear your palate. I'll tell you that. From my recollection, it is definitely a stronger of the Islas. But anyway, let's read some. Apparently, the 16-year is their standard offering, even though they do offer a 12-year. 16-year is like their classic, basically. And which I think is pretty cool to have such an aged option be your number one, seller, or not seller, but like your top whiskey. And of course, like we said, 16-year, we cover that one. 43% ABV, 86 proof. It is said that it is aged in ex-bourbon barrels and ex-sherry butts. And you know what they say, Robbie?
That drives me nuts.
That drives me nuts.
Sherry butts drives me
nuts. Sherry butts.
I wanted to talk about the color for a moment, and we normally talk about this when we run out of other stuff or we have to cover something, but it's a darker color for a Islay Scotch. Normally, Islay Scotch can be very light, so I assume that has something to do with the sherry butts.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Sherry butts make me
because Islay Scotch usually looks like semi-dehydrated piss. This looks like
exactly
very dehydrated piss.
Yeah, even like some aged ones that I've had from like Ardbeg, like the Supernova is like very light yellow.
Yeah.
Oops. This is Bender morning after hungover, didn't drink any water. Piss.
Yeah, wow, that's very, very detailed. You must be. Are you a piss expert?
It happened to me the other week, or after the national show.
Oh, nice.
I did not.
Probably happened to me this weekend.
Yeah. First of all, just peat right off the bat,
but like nice and sweet. I don't remember it being this sweet.
Yeah, it's the sweetness.
So here's what I compare Lagavulin's nose to, because I got this the first time when I did it on Who Gives a Dram, and I still get it now, and I haven't opened it since then. Lagavulin is you take a block of peat, you put it in the ocean for like a week.
Let the salt set in.
You take it out of the ocean, you get about 50 to 100 green apples. You just squish them all on like this. Then you age it in a barrel, and whatever is out is what this smells like to me.
I can get behind that, 100%. Even the apples.
I'm gonna. I can't say. To me, a green apple is more tart.
Apple juice. Right? Think of apple juice or like apple cider.
To me, yeah, but this is more like it's a sweeter. There's like I don't get like.
Maybe a candied green apple?
Sure, I'll give you that. Candy green apple.
I'd say somewhere between a pear and a green apple. Yeah.
Like you think of the sucker, right? Like the caramel apple suckers, like that kind of a sweet.
Yeah. That's what they called me in high school.
Good nose. And one of the things I could do with this nose is just go like, and it doesn't get worse or too strong or anything like that. Like you can fully put your nose in the glass, at least for mine.
It tastes like a 2-day-old fireplace. I love it.
So
like a extinguished cigarette that you pick up and smell later.
It kind of does.
It smell like that.
No. It does. It kind of it is smoky like that. Although I got a really weird, like it was kind of peppery note on the back end. But it was spicier, and then it was just mellow. I don't know. I got to go for another sip here, but like that was a little hubbub of what just happened in my mouth there, because it went a direction for me for a second, and I have no idea what it was. I got to get back.
This after giving it a bit of a swirly poo,
yeah, we still use your swirly poo on the show.
Oh, you do.
No, we do, yeah. We do the match up, spin J, the swirly poo. We'll make the whiskey dizzy. That's all.
You make the whiskey.
That was a hashtag Dram, or not hashtag. Shout out to Dramhound and his daughter.
Whiskey dizzy. I'm gonna start saying that. That's awesome.
Yeah, his daughter's like 4 years old, and he'll give her a dram and be like,
she'll make it dizzy.
And she smells it.
Yeah, wow. She's like, it smells like chocolate.
She's gonna grow up to be.
She's gonna be like Jackie Zykin or whatever.
If she can, who just was on the show, I
saw that.
Yeah, we just tasted Hidden Barn, and If you can find it where y'all are at, it's very good. And I'm not just saying that. It's actually very good. After giving it a bit of a swirly poo here, the brininess really comes out to me. Salty, like almost like taffy, saltwater taffy almost, but mixed in with that sweet fruit. There's a lot of things going on in this right now.
When I think of like brininess, I think of like pickles. And there's maybe not a dill portion of this or anything. Pickles. But there's a saltiness. There's like a nice saltiness to this that is, I mean, Islay is right on the ocean basically. And I mean, not Islay. Well, Islay is an island on the ocean, the Outer Hebrides or whatever. But anyway, Lagavulin's right on the bay of the ocean, dock of the bay of the ocean. Anyway,
look at this guy go, man.
You just said about 13 SAT words in 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. You can tell what I got on my English score for the SATs. Yeah.
So
this doesn't make any sense.
It gets kind of smoky throughout, but I do get like a peppery spiciness that's almost Tabasco-y, which is kind of weird, but it's not.
Ooh.
I don't know. Like it hits a spice point where I'm like, it's something. I do get Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I get a little bit of like, not necessarily bitter taste, but like just a kind of a sour note kind of lays on my palate at the end of it, but not off-putting in any way.
I like the idea of just salt and pepper, briny with the salt and a little bit of peppery just from the the kick of the smoke a little bit.
And it makes you want to push it real good into your mouth.
That's also what she said.
Oh man,
pretty good actually.
This is no, it's still light. It's really light, but there's a lot of flavor there for sure.
It is.
Do a couple of water drops.
I don't know if it's to its benefit, but the 86 proof is good, but I think they could do better. Oops,
it could be hotter for sure.
That's what the 12-year cask strength encompasses a lot of, like that higher proofed, almost oaky, like barrel spice aspect. So think of this, but like barrel spice.
So the other thing is like this, like sherry does not really show up,
but her butt does. Am I right?
Just backs into the room and then walks away. No, like it really isn't like there's not that sherry sweetness on it. Like nose has sweetness for sure, but like on the palate, like it's very much more savory.
The nose and the palate are very different.
On
this Dram for me. Like there's a lot of scotches that are kind of like, oh, it's smoky, salty, like meaty on the nose, and then you drink it and it's like, oh, it tastes the same.
I like that note that you just maybe brushed over, meaty. This is definitely meaty.
Yeah, well, like so like I think of like bacon, like burnt bacon, like the smell and like
I
can like taste the smell, because as you guys know, all odors are particulate. So when you smell a fart, you taste in a fart.
You do. You know what it tastes like.
Yeah.
And in your COVID series, you had me worried there for a little while. It was just like it was like one show was not like, we're just gonna talk, we're not drinking because I can't taste. Can you guys hear my girls?
Yeah.
I've got like a riot, full on like tickle riot going outside my office.
Oh, that's great. I'm sure the listeners will love it.
Oh, it adds to the like spirit of the show. We're just having a silly goose time.
Ambiance.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Je ne sais quoi.
Silly goose time. Ooh, so the nose with the water is a little more bright, but in a fruity way to me.
I do get like a little bit of oakiness on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a little oaky note.
I'm getting less oakiness, but more fruit.
Are you? Because I didn't really think oak. Oak is a note I have to think about to go like, oh yeah, that is oaky. So like, I'm just now thinking of it.
Yeah. This is good.
I get the same exact thing with the water.
Oh, really?
Same exact thing, yeah.
Really? Okay.
I just realized I still have some of my overproof rum from Ben Klepsig. I don't know why I brought that up, but I'm really excited to finish that.
Oh man, when I was searching my samples, I saw that and I was like, oh, I missed that.
That was good. Plantation overproof.
Yeah. Water. So with the water, And I'm a little nervous to go ice because the water is very muted, like ice typically does. We're like, I'm not really drinking anything, but it's smoky. I think the smokiness is there, pepper is there, but it's just, the a little flat with water.
Oak showed up on the very end of the finish for me, and it wasn't like great. I wouldn't drink that. Like, I wouldn't buy a bottle if it tasted like that at finish, but
because we have to also this is important to note because Lagavulin 16, you can find this almost anywhere.
Yeah, but
it's
like
going to cost you $100. So
yeah.
I mean, this has really got to blow you away if you're going to drop that money on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
My ice is almost non-existent.
That's how it goes.
Must be the Connecticut weather.
Yeah, you look like you got a beautiful head of hair there, and I see it moving back and forth. Is it a little warm there? You got a fan on you or something?
Yeah, I got a fan on me.
I got a fan on me too.
So real quick, speaking about where you're at there, Cole, Connor, can you rate Cole's background? Because you're very podcast
or compare it to a anything.
Yeah, what would you say about Cole's background there?
Cole looks like he's about to audition for Backdoor Sluts 9.
Whoa, hey!
Sorry, if this is supposed to be PG, you can edit that out. But Cole looks like he's the guy behind. Cole looks like, and this is not just the background, but just like him in general. It looks like he's the guy behind the camera at the casting couch.
I see now.
Like, it's totally him.
For the first time, I just thought to myself, Cole looks like he's getting his podcast shoot.
Al Jazeera?
No, you look you're getting your podcast passport picture, right?
Yeah,
need an all-white background, needs to be framed in this certain position.
God damn, Cole, your beard is really coming in though, huh? Like that's
Thank you, sir.
I feel like is it thicker than normal?
It is, yeah. And I like it. Solid. I like to get it a little pointed at the bottom. So that it makes my face look longer, because I was telling Robby that I'm like closing in on my high score in terms of weight again. So I gotta clean it up.
Who was messaging me on the Chill Filtered? Was it you, Robby?
Or was it a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So I said like, oh man, dude, I go crazy if I don't work out after work, because I've been like going every single day for like a month now. But
nice.
I've been working out in my horse barn at my parents' house, so it's about 100 degrees. And after a few, yoga poses like downward dog or something, because I'm flexible, I'm sweating.
Yeah,
like I just like worked a full day landscaping. It's incredible. Dude. But dude, all you got to do, go for like a 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk every day for like a month. And watch the weight just strip off. You're not like you don't look bad.
Disclaimer. That's a young man's metabolism talking to you right now.
I don't know. I'm gonna listen. He's in shape.
Dude, I tell you. Well, here's the thing. When I was, how old are you now, Connor? How old?
I am the old age of 25 years old.
25.
Nice.
Okay,
man.
When I was 25, I would go to Zips, and I would get triple burger, bacon, cheese, and a tub of fries, which is like, it was probably like a quarter pound, half pound of fries. I don't know. It was big, and dunk it in like just fry sauce, stuff like that. And all I had to do was go play basketball for an hour, and like I maintained a very slim, trim figure.
Jeez, dude, we are.
If I were to look at that right now, I'd gain 10 pounds. Like just looking at it.
We are on the opposites. I take Metamucil every single day because I have to.
Oh boy!
No,
did I tell you about the last time I took Metamucil?
I've never heard this, and I don't know if I want to. But so now I'm intrigued, so now I got to.
I want to hear it.
So the last time I took Metamucil was like July or August of COVID, of 2020. So like beginning of COVID. And I was with my mom in Colorado, and I think I had visited my mom and dad. And my mom's like, here, have some Metamucil. It's good for you. And it was my last day in Colorado. So I flew back to, luckily nothing happened on the flight, but I flew back to Arizona, and I had the worst diarrhea of my life for like 4 days straight.
Yeah. Well, that's your colon cleaning itself.
But it was one little thing of Metamucil, and it was like 4 days where I couldn't even go driving because I didn't know when it was going to hit.
Cole's wearing a garbage bag with holes cut in it for.
I got tested for COVID like twice during it because I was like, sometimes, like I looked it up and they're like, sometimes that's the only like COVID symptom is like diarrhea, and I was like 4 days. And then the funniest thing was, what got me out of it was I was like, screw this, I'm getting a Reuben at some deli, and I'm just gonna eat it and suffer the consequences. And then it just went away. It like ended that moment. Like I guess the Reuben is the ultimate clogger.
Ruben's getting you something like 9. No more diary. I don't know what I went. It was very German to start. I don't know where I went with that. The rest of that
should have gone with a New York accent. Yeah.
No,
I don't appreciate the negative press to Metamucil, because if Metamucil could sponsor Bourbon with Friends and Who Gives a Dram, I would do it for free.
You guys on the other hand, we want Bush's Baked Beans to sponsor us.
So that's hilarious. But you gotta take Metamucil for like a month.
Okay.
And then it starts to. So I took it every day for a month, and now I wean off to like every other day. But dude, there are times, and I don't mean to get too crass on the podcast, but there are times that I don't even have to wipe. I'm serious.
Nice. Just pops right out.
Does.
That's the best poo. I'm going to be honest with you. The ones where it cleans itself up on the way out.
Your children's best poos.
That's
sweet.
True.
I'm done wiping butts after one look, right?
Yeah.
No, my wife will tell you I am too regular. Like my motto is like puking, pooping, when in doubt, get it out. I am. But I also the other thing is like my protein shakes. I always throw in a handful of spinach too, and there you go.
It's fiber.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Smart you ever do that, Connor? You ever throw?
No, I don't eat green. I don't eat green stuff.
That's why you got to throw. You do protein shakes though, right?
Nah, I get my protein.
He just eats protein,
eggs, yogurts,
meats,
chickens.
Right. We'll throw one protein shake in there. Throw some maybe Metamucil too, but just throw some spinach in there. Throw a big handful of spinach in there.
It's a waste of time. Waste of calories.
Yeah, I'm thinking like no.
There's like no calories in spinach, man.
Then what's it good for, Robbie?
Yeah, what's
fiber and vitamins and nutrients. Like every
vitamins and nutrients are very important.
Yeah,
that is true. But dude, you're talking to the Metamucil king. I get fiber, bro.
You don't need no fiber. You already got it.
All right,
I've been pushing Metamucil for like over a year. I've been talking about it on Who Gives a Dram for probably a year now. So I'm not new to the fad. I'm an OG.
Yeah. So is anyone getting the most fruity notes on the ice pour? Okay,
much more fruity,
a lot less smoky. Or maybe I'm just gotten used to the smoke by now. But
there's a chance.
No, it definitely opened up in terms of sweetness. It tastes like it's 63 proof right now. But
it's definitely lighter. I took a drink. We talked about pooping, and at the end of that poop talk, I still have a little of that bitter note I was getting on the neat there. Like not even bitter, but like that sour note. But yeah, it's fruitier. I want to say it was colder, but we talked a lot and it got warmer. But
I like it. I prefer it neat. I think neat's the best pour of Lagavulin 16. It's good. It's really good. And it's complex to an extent. There is a lot going on, especially on the neat pour, which luckily I have a little bit left of my bottle that I can drink it neat again.
Yeah, I'm going to finish my neat after we get to our next segment, but I'm not trying to call for the next segment. Just saying.
Wait, what segment? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, don't you? Okay, you call back. All right, you guys got some ratings in mind?
I am formulating.
You guys go out of 10, right?
Out of 10.
Out of 10, okay. With decimals are acceptable.
Decimals even to the hundredths or thousandths are allowed.
Or the million. Yeah, you go to the billionth. Who cares? All right, I'm ready. I got this. I like this. Is it my favorite? I don't think so. I get a little bit of that bitterness there. The sweetness is there, but it's not necessarily always pronounced. I think neat was probably the best. It's real peppery, which maybe I'm just in a pepper phase here. But I'm just gonna give it a solid 8.1. I think at that point too, that's you look at $100 a bottle and like I don't know, I feel like I could get a little bit better for $100. But that being said, I'm not gonna turn this down. I like it. maybe not my thing. So,
yeah, I think it's. What was the exact score again?
8.1.
8.1. I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
8.5. Okay.
Solid.
Ooh.
Not Hubba to What, but close-ish. Subba to What. Shout out to Brian Rapp. But here's the thing that gets me a little bit of Lagavulin is that this compares very nicely with Ardbeg Korvrekken. Both very briny, both very smoky, but got some meat to it. Like but yet sweet and meat. That was a nickname
sweet and meat.
High school.
And it's what they called me too. That's weird.
Yeah, you too.
That boy with the apple bottom or pear bottom.
Yeah, with the pear
bottom
shaped pot stills. Yeah,
pear shaped pot.
And the sweet meat.
Yeah, that was my freshman year, but my senior year I was sweet meat.
Okay.
And the thing about Korvrekken is it's $120-ish bottle, I believe, nowadays. So it's like it's gonna be close, but I like it, but I prefer Korvrekken. Does that mean it's bad? No. But I think 8.5 is a quality rating. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
What's considered Hubba to What?
Hubba to What is 9+. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Hubba to What too is like I'm surprised by it. Like I would like this kind of came from nowhere, kind of like my daughter just came crashing in. And I was like, better than that. Hubba to What are you doing? Right? Like that's a surprise. So
great.
Give them a 9.0.
That's how you know Robby is a professional podcaster. Because that was a very smooth transition.
It was.
Yeah, so
very smooth.
That is the nice thing about having 3 on the podcast is you two keep talking. I get
Plus
out.
You had already given your rating, so it's
I get out and I go, if you guys don't get upstairs, like, hey, everything's okay. Dad's just drinking a lot of alcohol and talking to people and yelling at his children. That's got to be stable for their growth and development. No, I didn't.
I'm thinking. Well, I was gonna say Hubba to What, but this doesn't surprise me because I've had it before. My score for this is 9.25.
9.25.
Okay.
This is probably my favorite Islay Scotch, maybe behind Bunnahabhain.
Bunnahabhain's great.
Only because this is like almost the exact opposite scale. Bunnahabhain, there's barely any peat. Lagavulin, there's a lot of peat.
Sure.
I really enjoy the nuances in this bottle. I did when I first had it, and I still do now. There's no overpowering element to it. Ardbeg sometimes there's so much smokiness, which I like.
Yeah.
Lefroy sometimes there's so much of that like salty meatiness to it. And then the other Islay brands, they have their distinct characteristics for the most part. But Lagavulin kind of brings all of them together, I think, and kind of they all harmonize together quite nice. So I think this is probably, if you gun to my head, Connor, what's your favorite Islay Scotch? I'd probably say Lagavulin 16. So
nice.
The only reason it's not higher than like a 9 point, like no 9s, is because I'm just a bourbon guy. So
sure.
I think that I actually, if you asked me this like in the winter, sitting next to a fire, it'd probably be 3 or 4 points higher. But when I'm sweating my nuts off in August, I don't typically reach for a Islay Scotch.
Now I will say, like with ice though, it was pretty pleasant. Like it was a nice cool down. Summertime, I do like a cheap Scotch with some soda and a little bit of lime, and that to me is refreshing, and it's the spot. Will say though, this week I thought to myself, like, I need to buy some more Scotches because I just don't do it enough, and it's about that time.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna do that. All right,
it's about that time.
Idea.
Well, what time is it now? Speaking about
that's a great question, Connor.
Look at you.
It's time for Whiskey World News.
And we're back. Part of the show where we read an article, we talk about it, didn't write it, gonna read it, and we call that part of the show Whiskey World News. And since we're kind of doing what we're doing today, we're drinking.
We're doing.
Drinking single malt here. This article comes from Vine Pear, It's written by Susanna Scriver Barton. And there's even an illustrator credit here, which I hadn't even thought about since I was in elementary school.
Give them credit.
Ariella Basson. And anyway, it's titled, What an Official American Single Malt Category Means for the Future of Whiskey in the U.S. Die-hard American whiskey fans have been waiting a long time for this day. After years of cooperative work to hash out the details and patiently navigating the bureaucracy of the American government spirits regulations, the single malt distillers of the United States can now bask in the glow of being officially official. Well, just about. After nearly 5 years of petitioning, the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, otherwise known as the TTB, has published a notice proposing to formalize the standards of identity for American single malt as a distinctive product of the United States. The full notice can be written here. It doesn't help you on the podcast. It doesn't help you on the YouTube. Can't click it. Only can read it. I can't read it. What it means, the new rule, if passed, would place American single malt on par with bourbon, rye, single malt, scotch, and other types of whiskey that are enshrined in the TTB standard of identity. It would afford American single malt legal protections and likely help the budding style to achieve wider recognition. The TTB's notice summarizes the efforts undertaken by the Single Malt Whiskey Commission and some of its members and supporters over the last few years to push for official recognition for American single malt. It notes the evolution of those requests leading to the current proposal and invites the public to comment on it. And it lays out exactly what benchmarks the American single malt whiskey would have to meet. Namely, to be 1. Made from fermented mash of 100% malted barley. 2. Mash distilled and aged in the United States and distilled entirely at a single distillery. 3. Distilled to no higher than 80% ABV. 4. Matured in oak barrels not exceeding 700 liters. 5. Bottled at a minimum 40% ABV. And 6, I can't remember. Allowable coloring, flavoring, and blending materials would be permitted as they are for non-straight rye wheat called mountain whiskeys and blends of straight whiskeys other than bourbon, but neutral spirits would not. So I'll stop there. It keeps going on, but I feel like that's kind of the highlight there. Cole, Connor, any thoughts?
Connor, any thoughts? I'll go after you.
I think that the American single malt category is definitely rising within the whiskey world. McCarthy's is the first that comes to mind. Great brands, great juice, and there are so many others, and especially like larger brands that are starting to dabble in this. I think the more that we can grow whiskey in any respect is good. So as long as it's regulated and we're not getting like piss water aged in oak.
Yeah.
If it's legit,
good, though.
That's
to Robbie.
Got me.
I actually think now I'm going to go buy one of those like small little oak like, barrels.
And you send us a sample.
You don't even have to get any whiskey.
And then I drink so much whiskey that maybe
you never know.
Who knows?
What could come out. Yeah.
You know, but no, I think it's any way that we can grow whiskey as a category, as a spirit, is good for everybody.
Okay.
I'm with you. I think it's funny because when I first started getting into whiskey and even scotch, I was like, what could America do to keep up with that? and there were a few standouts along the way, but really when it hit me, and I hate to be a Del Bach fanboy, but really when it hit me was drinking Whiskey Del Bach from Tucson. They just blew my mind. And in terms of American single malts, and one of the kind of the forerunners, or I don't know what the word is, the forefront people of moving this law into action, I believe, is Whiskey Del Bach, and they want to really make it standardized, which I respect. You know, you look at bourbon and you look at even bottled and bond whiskey from like 1897, and you're like, they did that for a reason. They wanted to standardize it so that it could be legit. And I appreciate, the putting this into law, because you do want to be in a field where everyone stands by rules, so that no one's saying, hey, this is an American single malt when it's got like tons of rye in it and whatever, which is not always a bad thing, but you want to be on an equal playing field with others when you can really compete in the single malt game. So I appreciate this law going into effect.
You know, I really appreciate both of you guys sharing very educated knowledgeable stuff about whiskey. Do you guys ever? And I'm about to contribute my own here. Do you guys ever listen to Bill Burr?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Every week.
Okay, so I can't remember which special it is, but he's in London for it, and he goes, you know what?
Nice.
And it's exploiting on some
totally
caricatures of American society. He goes, you know what? We're not that different. You guys are pretty fat too. So one thing America does really well is we get fat. We've talked about it a little earlier. Unless you're Connor and you do downward dog for 6 seconds and all of a sudden you're shredded. Yeah. We're kind of fat. We do junk food really well. And we get into this designation of American Single Malt. What I'm ready for is the American Single Malted Milk Balls. Give me Whoppers who incorporates a little bit of single malt whiskey into it. Give me the American Single Malted Milk Balls. It's what is milk?
It's like liquor truffles.
Whoppers.
Yeah.
Whoppers. Single malted American Whopper milk. That's a lot of words.
Or even a malted milk shake with single malt in it.
Would that bring all the Scottish boys to the yard, do you think?
Anyway, I'm good.
My single malt milkshakes bring all the Scottish boys to the yard.
They're like,
dang, Americans are fat. Sorry, Americans.
Yeah.
Are few. Anyway, all right, moving on. Like I said, you guys had very developed thoughts, and that was the only thing I think of was malted milk balls. All right,
you're moving on here. Goes in milk balls.
All right, so moving on here to our last segment of the show. What whiskey would you choose? Last week we talked about. We posted a picture of John Hughes's whiskey wall there, and said what whiskey you can drink from his wall. And John completely lost this. No, Cole completely lost.
Oh, yeah. Well, because there was Russell's Reserve 13 on it.
Yeah. So John chose Russell's 13 and got 90%. I chose Redwood Empire Lost Monarch, and you got like 2 votes. Did I get 2? Good for me. And Cole 0. Did EHT single barrel and got 0% there.
Not true. I just voted. For
Did
single barrel.
Did you just vote for Cole? Yeah. All right. So I've got to update this. Yep. There it is. Cole got 1 vote.
There you go. Almost caught up to Robbie.
And you know what? The votes that I got, I wasn't even one of them. So I could vote too.
Nice.
Anyway.
Wait, Connor, have you ever had Russell's 13 yet?
Yes, I've had all 3 of those in the picture. So we bottle killed Russell's 13 last time I was in Kentucky. I probably had about 5 glasses of it.
Good. I thought that was George D. Stagworthy. Like Goodyear George T. Stagg too. Yeah.
It's definitely up there with one of Turkey's best products.
Yeah, I would agree.
But I love Taylor Single Barrel.
Totally.
And Lost Monarch is one of the best daily drinkers out there. So it was 3 solid choices, to be honest.
We should have put Mellow Corn on there too.
Should have.
Yeah. A little upset. You've represented Mellow Corn a little less lately.
I feel.
Have you had? Oh, okay. So real quick, I don't know if you listened to our episode. Have you had Silverback?
Silverback.
What was the corn one? It was just Silverback
Alpha
corn
series. I want to say.
Have you had those yet, Connor?
I have not. No.
Virginia, Pennsylvania.
So you like Mellow Corn? It's like the standard of corn whiskeys.
I don't. I wouldn't say corn. I like it. I would say I love it. But go on.
Okay, Silverback's corn. It took corn for me though. It took corn whiskey in a direction I didn't know corn whiskey could necessarily go. It was a little more complex. It was great, and I don't want to take away from Mellow Corn love. I'm not trying to introduce you to a mistress. Mellow Corn, don't write to me, don't at me here and say quit messing with my man.
Yeah,
but you got to check that out.
I will check it out.
Okay,
I will check it out. I listen. I don't discriminate, but it's kind of like. I have a lot. I can have a lot of girlfriends, but there's only one lucky lady that the old Mellow Corn Mister goes home to.
That's funny.
So, how often do you put Metamucil in your Mellow Corn?
That's a great question.
I've done it 3 or 4 times.
Have you seriously though?
No.
You need to. Let's see that reel. You got to post that reel.
Oh, for sure. I'd watch that, and then the follow-up reel.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Can you what's the word? Adulterate your Mellow Corn with some Metamucil? Although they're both great things, so put them together.
Man, it was perfect. It's the Metamucil. It's great.
Metamucil.
It's gonna be the cocktail of the fall.
That's true.
Put a little cinnamon in there. Cinnamon bitters.
drink enough of it, it's coming out both ends the next morning, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
but, all right, anyway.
you are going to feel great.
Cleanse, man. Oh, that's great.
A couple write-ins here. Our good friend John Hughes in Bell's Pod, he's going, that Michter's barrel strength is pretty nice too. Nice. So he put a second pick in there. Nice. Our good friend Dram Hound, he says definitely Knob Creek pick if it's more than 10 year. Brotaskin has another random little sample bottle because John Hughes gets them.
John Hughes probably
John Hughes has got a good sample bottle up there for sure. Cask.Cowboy with Calumet,
or Calumet, I believe.
Calumet.
I might be wrong, but I think it's Calumet.
Joel M09, that Bellmead honey. We'll take that. If not, then he'll take the little duck. And
that was good.
Not everybody notices the little duck on the mic there on John Hughes's. And then our good friend Ben Klepp said, Mad Time Marker just said favorite non-Scotch, non-American, non-Japanese whiskey. And I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that means, Ben. We respect you.
We love Ben. So anyway, all right, this week we're running a little bit long here.
Yeah.
Gotta tighten this up a little bit. Connor, we'll let you go at least second or third. You let us know when you're ready. But this week's what whiskey would you choose? Is what talking about single malts? What is your favorite single malt? Not necessarily American. Just any general single malt. What is your favorite single malt? Cole, what is your favorite single malt? What you can choose?
Favorite of all time I've had thus far is the 2015 committee release, SN committee release, Ardbeg Supernova.
Okay.
Killer. 109 or so phenol scale. Killer Scotch.
Cole, did that Supernova go to space?
In theory, it did.
You promised space in my mouth.
In my mouth. No, just in theory.
All right. Well, my favorite, no surprise, because it's endeared to my heart, is Balvenie 12. I love it.
Nice.
Sherry finished. Sherry butts drive me nuts.
What would you prefer, Balvenie 12 Double Wood or Del Bach Dorado?
You hit me on two different levels.
Yeah,
I can't get Del Bach here. So if you were to offer me a bottle of each right now, I would take the Del Bach because we don't get it here. And Del Bach is wonderful. It's delicious. Everything we've had by him is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, Balvenie 12's got a little special spot in my heart. So there you go.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Connor, what do you got? What's your favorite single malt?
I think we might know the answer, actually.
I think so.
I mean, I was thinking about saying Lagavulin 16.
You can go there.
You can.
I don't know if I want to.
You can wrap it with a nice tidy bow.
I'm going to sound like an idiot because I don't remember the year on this. What's the year of the Macallan Sherry finish?
12? Well, there's a few. So the 12 is usually the one you're looking for. Yeah.
Yeah. So probably the 12 right off the top of my head.
That's a good Scotch.
It's a great Scotch. I would say mellow corn.
Okay. I can accept this.
But
right.
so
it won't fit the rules, but the rules aren't legal yet. So
they're not legal rules yet.
Yeah.
In the poll, just put mellow corn and see if it wins.
Oh,
but
totally.
Actually,
yeah, no, we will.
For me, put Lagavulin 16 is probably.
Lagavulin 16.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll also add a fourth option, mellow corn. So,
and I bet you it wins.
I wouldn't be super surprised.
You know, sometimes our listeners get a little nutty and they're like, whatever, like forget about it. Who cares? And I'll vote for this, and I'll get my right in. Yeah.
I'm trying to have a silly goose time. That's why I love
silly goose time. Certainly.
All right, Cole. We haven't even discussed. Are we going to put up a Pick 2 Tuesday, or are we just going to go straight?
We are.
No. Are we really? Are we just going to go straight for the one we want to do?
Which one's the one we want to do?
The one we do. It's the Tin Cup.
Oh yeah! Did you get a bottle yet?
I did. Yes.
Oh.
So next week, folks.
10-year.
That's what we're doing.
This way, Cole.
Never mind. We'll put up Pick 2 Tuesday. It'll say Tin Cup 10-year bourbon. It'll say Tin Cup.
Yeah,
10-year,
and then American whiskey.
Yeah, there you go.
Even though they're technically the same thing.
Label both. So, all right, sounds good, man. Well, Connor, dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
thanks, Connor. Yeah, it's been almost 2 years. No, it's just been a little
year and a little.
We appreciate that.
And Connor, tell us where people can find Who Gives a Dram and Bourbon with Friends. How can we support you?
Yeah, so Who Gives a Dram on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, BWF Podcast on Instagram. Instagram is the two places you can find me the most. We're both on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, every single platform to listen to podcasts. Bourbon with Friends and Who Gives a Dram are both on there.
Nice.
YouTube as well.
Nice.
You can find us there as well. And as of today, I officially launched. It's not 100% done yet, but I wasn't even planning on announcing this, but I launched I launched the Bourbon with Friends Patreon page.
Oh,
and essentially what that is, there's 2 tiers, and I kind of modeled it after what you guys do as well. Mm-hmm. But I've never been a fan of putting content behind a paywall because it's like I'm trying to reach the most people. Why would I make people pay? However, we do have a little series called Bourbon with Friends After Dark, where we talk about stuff that cannot be said on the regular podcast feed for multiple reasons. So I think the first tier is $5 a month, and then you get 1 to 2 episodes per month of Bourbon with Friends After Dark.
Oh, that's great.
It's a Patreon exclusive podcast, and then there's a second tier where I'm going to add more stuff to it. But right now, we're also going to do a quarterly kind of private tasting over Zoom / hangout /
perfect.
Probably a bunch of other stuff, but that's going to be $10 a month. And if you do that, that's a lot of money, I think, for a month. But that's what it's at right now. So go to patreon.com and it's Bourbon with Friends. And if you guys want to do that, that's brand spanking new as of today.
That sounds great. But Connor did not mention you will be better looking, and so will your spouse.
True.
Your significant other. And that's one exclusive chill filter thing you can get for any tier on Patreon.
That is very true. And then also, if you do subscribe to Bourbon with Friends on or subscribe, is that the best word? I don't know. But you also you will grow an inch taller.
At least an inch.
At least
from what I hear.
You could round it up 2 inches, even if 3 inches if you want.
Yeah.
True. Right. True. The roundup is on you as an individual, but it is scientifically proven. I will come to your house and break your knees. So that way, after the surgery, you're at an inch taller.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I hope it doesn't hurt too much, Cole.
Yeah. And I hope that our listeners will appreciate and check out Connor's multiple podcasts, or not multiple, but 2 podcasts, and hit them up on Patreon, because what they're doing over at Bourbon with Friends, at the very least, is worth supporting financially.
But most of all, listeners, I hope our love of spirits lifted yours.
All right, here we go.
Welcome to Chill Filter.